Welcome to Maturing in Marriage. My name is Darren Barron, and this is my wife, Monique Barron. And we want to welcome you to a time where we are going to help enhance your marriage, our marriage, and everyone that is here.
Yes.
This time we are doing something different. If you watched us last time, and we appreciated your comments from the last time that we came together. And as we promised, we are going to do something a little bit different today. You're not just going to hear us talk about marriage, but we've invited some special guests here. And we did it on purpose. We did it to where we have couples that have been married for a year.
A little over a year.
A little bit over a decade.
A little bit over a decade.
And one that's coming upon 2 decades.
One coming upon 2 decades and 3 decades.
And so we'll sit and talk about
That sounds like a long time, 3 decades.
Yeah, well, it feels like a minute too. So it's going to be a really good time,
Yes.
Organic. We haven't really talked about, specific what we want anyone to say. It's just going to be real. And so you want to make sure that you go and share this information. Everybody that's in here, go share on your Instagram. Everybody. We want to get this out. Look, we are making disciples. Why struggle in marriage if you don't have to?
Why? But the beauty about what we're about to do today is it's not only for your marriage, but it can help in any relationship.
Yep.
So we definitely want you to stay tuned because you are going to truly be blessed. Some amazing speakers today to be able to just bounce off of, to glean from, to get some nuggets from. So I promise you, you will be blessed. Stay with us.
I know I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, I certainly am. So again, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. You're going to be blessed, so stay with us.
All right. See you in a minute.
We got to be like, come on, you've seen it before.
I know, but we're sitting down and you're like,
no, you got to view it like this on the couch.
It's tragic.
Okay, fine. Like that. Is that hard? I was trying to show him. It's okay. Oops, oh, because my chain. Okay. We're ready.
Cool. So, can you guys tell us how you met?
I'm playing. Okay, let's start over. Okay. So we met about 5 years ago at Towson Mall. So as he was coming or walking out of Nordstrom, I was coming down the escalator. Is that what it's called? The escalator? Yeah, the escalator. And we locked eyes and we just smiled at each other, but nobody said hi.
I said something.
No, you didn't.
But she didn't say anything. But thank goodness I ran into her again later over in the food court.
Yes.
So right behind me, she spilled a drink.
No, that's not what happened.
And I gave her my card, and then she reached out. She was in town for just a couple days.
Yeah.
So we got together the following day, and then after that, everything was pretty much, that was the story from there. Yeah.
Somewhat, kind of, but yeah, pretty much after we bumped into each other in the food court, then he, like he said, he gave me his number for me to reach out to him. And then after I did that, did you say we met up? We met up for ice cream about 2 days later. Had a really good conversation, and then been inseparable. Is it inseparable? Inseparable?
That's the word.
Inseparable ever since.
Thank you for joining us. So here we are with our first special guest. Happens to be our daughter and son-in-law, Mariah and Randall. Hope you all were clearly blessed by their introduction of how they met. Just want to talk to them a little bit more.
Towson Mall is where?
It is in Maryland.
Oh, because we live by Bayfair Mall, Eastmont Mall, Pleasanton Mall. What is the name of that one? So Towson Mall.
Stone Ridge.
Yeah, Stone Ridge Mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in the Bay Area. But if you're in Baltimore, you know exactly what they're talking about.
Mhm.
The
Yes.
DC area, the
Yes.
DMZ.
DMZ?
Oh.
DMV.
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 I'm taking them
Don't
across the
tell your
country.
age sitting here. Please don't tell your age sitting here. So we are going to talk with them a little bit today
About communication, or one of the first subject matters, talk.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, how do you? First of all, let's say this. This is the youngest couple in the bunch.
Yes.
So do y'all remember
Youngest
the Sugar Hill Gang?
couple
Y'all know who the Sugar
and
Hill Gang is?
The youngest.
He doesn't know who the Sugar Hill Gang is. How did you?
Say it ain't so.
Okay,
Oh.
he has reasons as to
I
why
have
he
my
doesn't
reasons.
know
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
certain
That's right.
things,
Half of my
okay?
life.
You
I was not
still
here,
should know who the
so-
Sugar.
Oh,
How did you
okay.
get married to
Okay.
my daughter knowing who the Sugar Hill Gang is? We let that one slide. Have you ever went over a friend's house to eat?
And the food just ain't no good.
I mean, the macaroni is
plenty of
soggy,
times.
That's a song.
and the chicken tastes like wood. Somebody's out there tweeting like, "What? You don't know who the Sugar Hill Gang is? Where he from? Africa? Yes."
Yes. Actually, yes.
Actually,
Don't put that on Africa.
what?
There are Africans who know who the Sugar Hill Gang is.
Well, this one doesn't.
Well, they
so
were born
he knows
here,
now.
probably.
He knows now. Listen, the thing is that they've been married for how long? Have you all been married?
A year and I believe
Like 4 months?
5 months.
A year and 4 months?
Yeah, a year and 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a year and 5 months. Okay,
So almost a year and a half now.
So all of you that have been married or aspiring to be married, this is a nice couple to look to in terms of being an example. And the reason why I'd say that is because, and this is going to be pervasive across the board for everyone that's here. Most couples don't have people most couples are not being mentored. So they're getting married, but then they don't know how to be married. They're figuring it out as they go along. And, you could be wasting a lot of time, a lot of good time by trying to figure things out. And you guys have, of course, come to the place to learn how to be mentored. And so with that said, especially being married a year, all of those that have been, and here's another thing. Statistics say that people are not even getting married anymore. They say we just gonna live together. So if you're those people, we not even throwing rocks at you. But the end conversation we'll talk about today is trust. We'll get there when we get there. But today we're going to talk about communication. Or with them, we're going to talk about communication. How do young couples communicate? Because I know for us,
Yes.
oh my Lord, man.
Yes. I wish I had somebody to help me communicate back
I
when
do
we
too.
were.
I do too. I wish I do.
But and here's the beauty about it, and I think this is the beauty about what we're going to talk about, and that's why I said, it's not just a matter of just doing it in a doing it in a coupled relationship,
Yeah.
but in any type of relationship, because who really teaches you? And that's a question I'm going to have for you guys as well. But who really teaches you how to communicate?
Yeah.
Who teaches you how to talk to one another? And I think that's so important, because many times we tend to do things based off of something that we've seen, or our experience, or lack of something that we've seen, or lack of experience. And so I think that's a great opener, is how do you all communicate, but then how do you feel you learned how to communicate, or do you struggle in your communicating?
I was like, how many questions is that?
That was 4.
Yeah.
Well, let me say something first. First of all, I have to say I appreciate you guys having us today. I mean, we did this before, but it was shorter. But this one I think is going to be amazing. And I have been wanting to talk about communication. I know for me, and maybe for Mariah, I will say that was an area that early on when I met her, it was all right, but it wasn't at the level that it needed to be. And so many things have happened over the last few years where we've grown in our communication, and there's always room for improvement. I mean, even right now and at this level and at this season of our marriage, we're still learning a lot, and there's so much more to learn. So yeah, I'm ready to dive into this. I think it's gonna be good. Do you have anything to say?
I mean, well, I was going to answer the question.
Oh, hey, she's ready. That's
He's
good.
the intro.
No, I was just gonna say that I don't feel like we've struggled. Well, I don't feel like I have struggled with communicating. No, because I'm a really good I feel like I'm a good communicator, but I feel like we struggle with understanding. I don't feel like we struggle with because I can talk and I will express everything that I need to express, but if he doesn't receive it or if he doesn't understand or if I'm saying something and he gets upset and it's like, I didn't even mean it that way. It was his understanding of it, not the fact that I didn't communicate well.
Stop. That's not communicating, and that's one of the things that we have to understand in terms of bringing definition. You're
Okay.
talking, but communicating involves making sure that the other party
person
understands.
No, but I don't think that's my place to make him understand. I think he has to know who I am enough to know that I'm going to talk to him out of love. I'm not coming for him. I'm not going to hurt him. And so I think that we have to take ownership in how we go about how I understand him is not him trying to make me understand him, but it needs to be from a place of, no, I'm understanding you because I know you love me enough to tell me this.
So you're already to the trust part. You're assuming that there's trust in the relationship.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
initially,
Okay.
for me, yeah.
Well, I do want to correct you in something because years ago I taught, as you know, I was a teacher, and I would always say, if I had one or two students who didn't understand what was going on, it was those students. But if I had the entire classroom who didn't understand what was going on, it was my teaching. And so for you, I think it's one of those things to say, well, it's not necessarily for you to make him understand what you're saying, but sometimes, again, when you come from different backgrounds, you have to, I don't have to make you understand, but sometimes I have to communicate it differently.
Yeah.
And so in communicating it differently, maybe because I know there are times that I know I have said things, and from the time it's come out of my mouth, hit pastor's ears, from his ears, into his heart, back out of his mouth, it was something I sure enough didn't say.
Sensei.
I ain't
But-
said that. That ain't what I said.
That's how. Let's go back to the definition of just, and I'm giving my definition, just an aggregate definition of the whole thing. Communication is when you come and you disseminate some type of idea, thought, words that comes out that the intention has to be to where it is received by the receiver. If you come and you say something and is not received, you may be talking, you may be displaying something, but it is indeed not communicating.
Yes.
So I have to some degree apologize because what you hear out of my daughter's mouth is somewhat of myself, of like, look, I told you, it's up to you to go, but that is not communicating.
That's not communicating.
It's not communicating.
There are components
So
to communicating.
Yeah, and so both parties have to work to make sure that what's being said or what's being displayed is calibrated to make sure that we're both on the same frequency. So
Yes.
as you guys have been married for a year, you're working on trying to make sure that one, if you're in the Bay Area, is not on KMEL and the other one's not on KBLX. Because you could be playing music, but you're not playing the same music at the same time. And then get upset because you're saying, I've been playing music. No, you have to be on the same frequency, and that indeed is work.
Yes.
But I think that goes to how we are learning to communicate now, because I think that you can see, you all could be great communicators, and I can see that from you all, but that doesn't mean that that's something that I adopt or something that I'm good at. And I'm just speaking in general, but I think now that goes to being able to, when I know that I can't do it in and of myself, that's when it's like, okay, Lord, give me wisdom on how I should go and approach this conversation with my husband. Or the word of God, talks about even just speaking, slow to speak, and then so that you don't get angry. I forget, quick to hear, slow to speak. That's where it's like, okay, that can help you in communicating. That can help you in terms of your partner even understanding you. So just to answer the question on how we should communicate and how we should learn how to communicate, it should be that way. I don't think it should be a way of, yes, going to listen to, speakers are great. Seeing mentors and having mentors are great. But I think at the end of the day, when you really understand the word of God and do it, then you can't fail. You can't fail in communicating, but you have to know it. You have to know how to, at times, I'm submitting to him, he's submitting to me, I'm loving him, he's loving me. Like that's how I believe communication can be improved, when it's like you literally apply the word of God to your marriage. And that can be difficult in that time where I'm mad, or where I have something on my heart and it's just not coming across the way that I wanted to. It could be hard to just go and be like, oh, let's think of the word of God. But you have to, because if you don't, then you're not doers of the word. And if you don't, then what you are trying to communicate is going to be a struggle to communicate. So,
do you feel like, both of you, do you feel like you're good listeners?
I believe I am a great listener.
Well, since she's doing all the talking, you have to be, right?
Exactly. She does a lot of talking. I do believe I'm a great listener, and I didn't used to be that way. With time, I've learned I need to be an excellent listener when it comes to Mariah. So sometimes she'll tell me things, and I'll hear it, but I'm not hearing her heart, and that was the problem. It's because I didn't go about doing things my own way. But with time, and some of it, we had to come to a place where we had to ask for help. We had to seek help. We had to come to you guys, for instance. We had to sit down and be like, we need a third ear in this conversation, and someone who has years of experience, because I do agree with some of the things Mariah said earlier, and same thing with you guys. But I do believe that every couple or everyone in a relationship, they have their form of communication that works best for them. I know for Mariah and I, there might be times I'm one, I like to handle these things right then and there. I'm like, okay, this is going on. We need to have this conversation right now. However, Mariah's not always like that. Mariah sometimes, she needs a moment to soak all of this in. She does need to talk about it though at some point.
That's like her mother.
Exactly.
Because I will hurt your feelings if I don't. I will say something not meaning to, but I will say something and I will hurt your feelings.
Correct.
And which could ruin, like, now it's something that you think about, and you will continue to fester. Like, that thought will continue to fester, and then it hurts you enough to where now you don't feel like you can come talk to me.
Yes, I agree with that. And at that moment, all I'm going to be hearing is what you said. And I'm not hearing your heart in that, even though you're telling me the truth and you're telling me what you really mean. So I've learned to understand.
You don't look too hurt. She says she's throwing some daggers at you.
Because I don't, because I walk away, like,
She used to.
Process it.
Because
That's what I used to say. That's what I used to say to you.
She
when we
used
were
to.
younger.
She's
That's
worked on that. She's
exactly
still
what I used
working
to
on
say.
that.
Randall, what did you say? You said the police was after you. What did you say yesterday? What did you say, Randall? Tell them what you said. Come on, Randall, hurry up. Our time's going.
I said the police was after me, and I got arrested. And what did you say?
Why?
I told her I got arrested because they caught me with these guns right here.
So to the point, to keep on the point. So I said I got arrested too because of these BB guns. Saying that I used to have guns too, but then her guns of the words your mama used to say to me, just blurting them out. I'm like, is she for real?
Because I used to tell you the same thing. Like, I needed a moment. And you wanted to always talk right then.
Because
No,
an
no,
avalanche
no,
is
no,
happening.
no.
The rocks are falling.
You wanted to know. You wanted to talk right then. Well, if I talk, then you gonna be shrapnel.
Well, it happened, and that's why I say as we get deeper into these, like when we get to the next couple and the next couple after that, boy, you're gonna have some rocks that's falling off the thing. So when that's wise, and we wish we had someone that was there. Because it would have stopped so much. Because there are things from when we married in our first year that we still have to deal with in our 31st year.
Yeah.
And so So words actually mean something. How you communicate means something. And so it's good that you guys figured out that way of, you want to deal with it right now, Randall. So you can keep it going. Mariah's like, well, wait, let's talk. If you guys have figured out that sweet spot, that is very wise.
Especially after only a year and some change.
So who likes to talk the most out of both of you guys?
In what way?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a little. Yeah, it depends on what you're talking about, right?
It
In
depends.
terms of working through things, me. What you do?
No, I'm kidding.
No, you talk a lot.
I just made a face like.
Because when I say you talk a lot, you're more of a, when you talk, it's I'm gonna tell you about my whole day type of talk. I'm not like that. I'm like, I had a good day.
I agree with
You're
that.
Like, I'm telling you to run down of every little thing that I'm not like that. Versus when I'm working through an issue, I talk more than you. I feel like you listen more than you talk.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
good.
just saying.
Okay, good. Yeah. No, I do agree with that. I'm one, if I share with her, for instance, my day, I'm going to give you every single detail because I want you to feel what I experienced.
Oh, I love that.
You know what I love about them?
That is beautiful.
That we don't do.
About that like that.
Yeah, well.
Because I was the
yeah,
same
that's-
way. I don't.
Well,
I
we'll deal with that
didn't
on the
need
last
I
segment.
didn't need to hear about your whole day, but I didn't know that's why.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, you
want
see me,
you-
I'll
so-
give you the sound.
So he didn't
effects,
taught you
everything.
something.
Yes.
But watch this.
Something.
This is something they
That's
do.
beautiful,
This is something
Randall.
that they do right now that we kind of used to do. So Mariah and Randall, like he'll be at work or she'll be at work or something, and they'll be sitting up talking to each other, like FaceTiming each other. And when Randall's at somewhere at Home Depot rustling with bags. I'm like, who are you? And all of a sudden you hear a voice, and they won't even say anything for like a minute, and then they'll say something. They stay on the phone. I'm like, what the heck? We used to do that, but when we did it, the phone bills were like, we had to pay per minute.
That was over 30 years ago.
So 30 years ago, boy, my father got a $1,500 bill,
That's probably why they changed the.
and the
That's
phones
great.
were big and fat too. They were big fat phones, so we had to really say something when we were doing it. But they just sit on the phone, man. Like I was like, wow, aren't you gonna see each other in a minute? Okay, I'll see you in 5 minutes.
I look forward to it. I mean, she makes my days, and I work. Sometimes you deal with so many things at work and other people.
You gotta let it out.
Yeah.
You got to.
Oh, that is.
And
so
I know
sweet.
she'll listen too. She's not just listening to be like, okay, that was a nice story, but she's listening. She's asking questions. I'm like, okay, I can appreciate that. So that's one thing I can appreciate about my wife, Mariah.
So you don't have to have a bad marriage. You don't have to have one. And in our first year, we had a very challenging marriage.
Yeah, and I think Randall said something that was really good in that, because I think if people can really hear that everyone have their own way of communicating. And you're right, they have learned to figure out their way of communicating, but they've done it with help.
Yeah.
They've not just, we got this, we're gonna figure it out. And I think many times that's what happens.
Yeah.
A lot of people choose to make the decision to do it on their own versus, let me seek that help, or let me seek someone that has more experience, or that can, speak to me or help me, or so.
That was beautiful, you guys.
Thank you. That was good.
Yeah, we have to get ready to go on to the next one. Already. Yeah, I think some of the nuggets that we get out of this is that there are different ways to communicate, but you have to discover the best way to go about communicating.
Yes.
And I think the other thing
And
that
if
I
you
want
don't
to, yeah,
know, seek out
ask
help.
somebody.
Absolutely.
Ask somebody that got your answer, not your problem.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
That was good.
And
Absolutely.
and I think again the whole point is you don't have to get, people don't want to get married because they don't want to get into problems. Well, you don't have to. We'll be talking to another couple later, and hopefully we can bring some more out as this, as it relates to this. Too many people get married and got so much junk in the marriage and they don't deal with it, and then it shows up in the marriage, which makes people afraid to be married. But when you come into something of matrimony and you do it the right way, it doesn't have to be a complete colossal mess. Amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you, Emma Coors. We really
Yes,
appreciate
thank y'all.
y'all.
We
Join
appreciate
us.
you guys.
Hey, man. And look, man, I know, look. you gonna get you some booty anyway. You ain't gotta be all nice and everything. He be sitting there like, I just want to just talk to you all. I just want to talk to you all day. And like, man, go to work, man.
Right.
They're working on their second child.
Don't take that advice.
Amen. Well, thank you to the M McCoys. Amen.
Thank you.
Y'all go check
Y'all
this
stay,
out.
Stay with us.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Arm on the walk.
Like I said, walk where you couldn't make it up the hill.
Shut your face. Wow.
Yeah, you couldn't make it up the hill.
I did. I made it up the hill just fine.
Almost saw it.
Besides back when you had
Almost saw the
a
squad. But
fake dog chasing me just to see my reaction.
Behind the fence.
Behind the fence,
and I
and then
took
you
off
took
running.
off running for
And
no
you
reason
said-
whatsoever.
You said I'm not gonna run.
I said, wait a minute, there's nothing behind. I'm not
I gotta get
running.
details.
I need details
Get
before I
details
run.
when the dog's chasing him.
I need to know if a real dog is chasing me because you just do funny stuff to do funny stuff.
Sound like you gotta shake the questions.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, your mouth. You see it.
So can y'all tell us your favorite song?
So, can you tell us our favorite song?
I'd Rather by Luther Vandross.
Is it Ross or Rose?
By Luther, everybody know who Luther is.
Oh, Luther, new Luther. Luther with the
Skinny or fat Luther. I don't know which stage in the game he was at that time.
Luther that can make it up the hill or can't make it up the hill.
You know, leave me and Luther alone about making it up the hill.
Yes, our favorite song. Well, is it our song or my favorite song?
It's our song.
So my song to her is "I'd Rather"
Yes.
by Luther.
Yes.
But he said, "What is our song?"
And my song for you is I'd Rather.
Okay.
Yeah. I love it. It's a beautiful song. You found it first.
No more questions.
No more questions.
All right. Well, good for y'all to be back. Listen.
Yes.
Hopefully we fix some of the sound issues, and if you can't hear us, let us know.
Yes.
We'll try to, just
With
let
our
us know.
apologies.
Yeah, so got a lot of things going on here, but we have here with us the Thompsons.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and so they have been married, if I understand, for 12 years, right?
Yes.
And so
Just made 12.
just made 12.
Just made 12 on Monday.
Amen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, by the grace of God. Now, and of course, we have to make sure that we keep all of this real. You go from a situation where, say, Randall and Mariah, got married, and they've been married for a year, and because of how they got married and how we tried to set them up to be married, then you see a different type of a flow in their marriage, which is of God. Then you have a situation where when you come together, like for them, and they got married, and potentially there could be some hurt that is unresolved, or you're working it out together. And as you do that, you start to feel, even after 12 years, some of the, you start to see some call it shrapnel, or you start to see some bruises in the soul.
Just throw the rocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see some bruises in
You see
the
some
soul. That was
bruises in the
good. That was
soul.
good.
Simply because you got married. Maybe there was no one to really usher you or talk to you in certain ways about things, and life just happens. But nevertheless, they are still here and they're still doing it.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk to them. We've talked to the first couple about talk. We're going to talk to them about teach. How do you teach each other in the marriage? And so, let's go and you guys say hello and all of that. But how do you teach each other in the marriage? And
Do you want to go first? Okay. Of course.
So of course, just
Do the
a,
Randall real quick. So it's great to be here. We flew in all the way from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yes.
No layovers. It was a wonderful time. And man, just the weather's nice. It's a little colder than AZ. What else was in the intro? Okay, here we go.
well, just to set the stage a little bit. So
we know you guys have been married for, you just come up on your 12 years. So just give us, just a little bit about the first decade. Yeah, like
First
that
years of
the
being
first years of marriage, how you've seen the marriage, from when you guys, like the first 5 years to the second set of 5 years. Now you're in your third part of your 5 years. So kind of give us a little bit.
All right. Well, as far as Teach is concerned, I guess in the first 5 years and the second 5 years, I would say the first 5 years we came into this. Well, I did this. What is it? The Beavers. Leave it to Beaver type of mentality of, I was working from home. It's like, okay, when he comes home, I want to have dinner ready and the house clean, or at least try, and mind you, I'm working, and I'm working from home, but I had a very demanding job on the phones at the time too. So, and he had, his thought process was, house would be looking like a model home when he got married, and those are the things that would happen. But he married me, so it didn't really work out fully that way. So the first couple of years of our marriage, we had to learn that it's okay if everything that we thought, that would be wasn't. We had to learn, okay, well, who are we together?
Yep.
And that was definitely a learning process where we kind of taught each other of what we were willing to accept, what we were willing to let go of, because we had a lot of preconceived ideas.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna stop you. Because that's good. That's really good. Because again, who's taught you, or like where have you learned your training, or think and so I may come into the marriage thinking that the dishes, we can't leave dishes in the sink.
Right.
I didn't grow up like that, so I don't leave dishes in the sink. Whereas maybe, I grew up, we could leave dishes in the sink. We didn't have to clean the kitchen every night. And so now there has to be some teaching in there, because, and it kind of going back to what the Imakuas were saying, you almost have to, your communication style, you got to now try to figure out what your communication style is, because do I hurt your feelings? I grew up with the dishes being able to be in the sink. There was nothing wrong with that. Well, coming from my household, that's nasty.
Right.
You don't do that.
Right.
So, that's one of those things. So that was really good what you just said. So go ahead. I know. I just.
That's fine. Thank you. I was going to say, so the first 5 years, that was probably like one of the biggest things. But the major thing I know for me was I grew up watching both my parents either go to like a corporate job, or my mom was a flight attendant. So I watched them do the normal everyday type of job and gig. You're leave at 8, home by 5:30, with the exception of, the church that they were running. But I married an entrepreneur. So that was very different. And, he would get different jobs and hold them, and that's fine. But he would be miserable. And I'm like, why are you miserable? This is what we do. We're grown-ups, right? But that was what, the first 5 years? And then you went into final expense, and those were the next 5 years where I was able to see him really thrive. And I work in insurance of all different types of sorts. Either it was health insurance, or now I'm like a risk mitigator. So anything risk is like, my personality is a no, but he's the risk taker.
Yeah.
So I had to learn.
Risk it for the biscuit.
He does every time.
You risk it for the biscuit.
Yes, but
I love it.
I realized that our personalities, it's caused me to grow. So that I'm not in the safe basket all the time. And I'm looking like, no, you go for it. You can do it. And now he has a very viable, thriving company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, it's just one of those things where it's like, no, I believe in you because I've seen you do it, and it's going to be great. And now it's like, oh, we need to believe in Veronica too. Amen. We're about to get going. So I think that those are the things that that I had to learn in the first 5 years. So first 5 and then the next 5. What do you think?
Yes. So I will say this. For some, how do I remember this? I don't want to see clothes on the ground, socks on the floor, things laying out, all these things. Right? That's what was dictated to me, right? Now I'm a little OCD, so I like things a certain way. So she's like, yeah, and I don't want to see this, and I had to deal with this. And so I come home, whose socks are on the floor, whose jeans look like, whose everything's laid out. So there was a lot of, here's my expectation that I'm not going to follow, but you better follow it. So working through that. You had the mic. So what I recall the most is, like you said, so you grew up a certain way, and you grew up a certain way, so here's how it's done. But then also, too, is all of a sudden it was this pressure of, well, now we're married. So now we have to and be a certain way and act a certain way. And what does that mean to be the husband? And what does that mean to be the wife? And neither one of us knew really had the right idea. I mean, God love our parents. They did the best they could do, but it wasn't the exact, I don't know if there was ever exact teaching, but there wasn't the ideal to say, hey, here's the long term. So we dealt with that a little bit, and that really pulled away from the friendship. That pulled away from the reasons why we fell in love and why I wanted to be Superman and all these things, because it was like, well, I have to be this and she has to be that. And
so you guys your friendship start to diminish because you were so busy trying to meet these ideals of marriage that weren't realistic?
Yeah.
That's accurate, yeah.
Very accurate.
Yeah.
So then we kind of had an aha moment, like, wait a second, what do we, like, who said that we have to be, what do you say, leave it to Beaver or whatever it was. And then there was, the entrepreneurship wasn't exactly celebrated the first 5 years in figuring that part out. So as far as teaching, hey, listen, and I would always say, do you have any red slips on your door? No. I was like, have you ever had any on your door? Well, no. Then chill out. I got this. Who cares if I work 16 jobs? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm still in my 20s. I'm making more money than you, so chill. And so that still didn't kick in because her idea was stability was, the industrial age was you work 35 years at Ford and then you get a pension. And I'm like, we can get that money now. Like, what are you talking? So kind of coming together in that, because she's W-2, I'm 1099, just from a work standpoint. But that has a lot to do with personalities and everything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I just don't feel like secure. I'm like, stuff's paid on time and early, so relax. So that was kind of the first 5, and then we got into the second 5, and that was what, the insurance days?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I was gone a lot, which she loved. So
how about this? How about this? Because we have to get like into the subject matter, and the subject matter is how you each teach each other. And so the reality is that you guys in this time, good or bad, you're teaching each other how to be with each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
How did you go about
That's good,
teaching
and
each
that's-
other?
yeah.
The good and the bad. So, for example, to some of what you all were saying, you understand marriage to be a certain way, go to job, you go to work and all that. So now he's teaching you how to be with an entrepreneur.
Yes.
It's my sister, so I'm gonna say this. She's teaching you like all the genes are not going to be up, right? You're just
All
gonna
the
have
who?
to all her genes. Like if she has, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You're getting taught. I mean, I'm just saying,
that's facts.
You're teaching each other how to be with one another.
Right.
She's teaching
Right.
you that, like, look, I'm going to be stable from the 8 to 5, good and bad.
Right.
How?
Right.
So, because there's people watching you now. It's like, oh, please, they're looking at you guys like y'all are all cute and that kind of thing, but
Cute ain't got nothing to do with it.
it does a little bit. If you're gonna put your jeans on the ground, you better be cute about it.
I don't
Even
want your
though-
jeans on the ground. I don't care how cute you are.
It helps. You can't be ugly and put your jeans on the ground.
Anyway.
That's a double whammy.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm just saying, how did you all teach each other, good and bad?
He taught me about entrepreneurship, and I was able to learn that it was okay by the measure of his success, by him showing me, by him kind of communicating with me what some of your processes were. So that's what I thought it was. Am I just?
Well,
to me, that's how I learned. That's
yeah.
how I learned, was watching you.
Let Dom answer. Let Dom
Okay,
answer.
we're gonna let you answer.
Yeah,
Let's go good and bad. So let's say when we had just from a communication standpoint, she was teaching me when she would shut down. And I'm like, let's talk all the way through this.
That's good.
And I was teaching her. I have a Turkish background, And so there may or may not been things thrown and whatever. The details don't matter.
Cats
But
always wanna fight.
so there was
The details don't matter.
the details. Don't ruin a good story with details, right? So
That the devil is in the details. Is that what?
divinities and details. So
Oh,
yeah, let's
okay.
leave the devil out of it. So there was ways we
okay.
taught each other negatively to where, hey, let's sit and talk to her blue in the face,
That's
and she's
good.
like, no, I'm gonna fold my arms and I'm gonna leave. And I take that as, oh, you're leaving.
That's good. Yeah.
And so we taught each other negative in that way, but then also in good ways. How do we teach each other?
By staying. Is how we touch it by staying.
No, first five. How do we?
The first five?
Don't worry about first five. Just
Okay.
overall. Yeah.
Oh, overall, okay. I would say we do this thing called Blue Notes, and that's where she'll have 15 things going on. And what helps me just in work and period is really it'll feel like 30 things, but when you write it out, it's really 3. And because you haven't written it out, they just swirl. So
Yeah.
now it feels like there's 30 things, but it's really you have 3.
Wait a minute. Bring that down a little bit for me.
So like if she's like, okay, I gotta pick the kids up from school, I gotta do this work meeting, I have to make sure dinner's ready, and
Okay.
then mom called and she said something.
Okay.
So if she's not writing down what she needs to do, and I'm
Gotcha.
trying to communicate,
I got you.
all day these things are just swirling, and
Yeah.
it feels like there's 40, but no, it's really just 3.
I got you.
So we talk through that, and that bleeds into the relationship
And
because
it's called Blue Note.
with the Blue Notes, yeah.
So why is it called Blue Note?
because I tossed the blue notebook at her one time, I said, write down everything what's going on.
See, I love that.
And then
Okay.
3 pages later, I was like, oh, that's why I can't get through.
Yeah.
You're thinking about macaroni and cheese. You're thinking about driving to here. You're thinking about our next trip. All these things. And all I'm saying is,
Come on, hashtag Blue
let's
Notes.
talk.
That's why she
Right.
Right.
So
that was good.
being
That
able
was
to just go down and say, okay, you clear your mind
good. Okay.
so she can see, because if not, it feels like I'm attacking her. Hey,
Okay.
I'm not able to get through because this and that.
Right,
But if
right.
she can see, oh man, I'm all over the place. Oh
Right.
wow. Okay, now that the thoughts are out and I can actually follow them physically, tangibly. Sure. How was your day? Oh, now I can speak. Now I can get through. So I would think that's kind of in a positive way.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good.
Yeah, that's very good.
How'd you teach me in a positive way?
Or how are you? I mean, like I said, you guys are still in that. We're still teaching one another. There's still things that we're literally still teaching one another. I know he talks about, and I know our third couple will appreciate this comment that I'm about to make. But we talk about, one of his love languages is physical touch. And we always have
With
this
the third one, we must get
we
into that.
always we always have this conversation about, because he, for the longest, I think up
We
to
gotta
a
save
couple
that for
weeks.
we gotta save that to the. But save it for later. It won't have this. It ain't gonna have the same impact with them as it will with them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
But,
a good
but,
point.
but I'm
though.
talking about teaching.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make the point.
Yeah.
We can
It's
laugh
very
it out
true.
with the third couple. But
Yeah.
right now, so the point is like, he would always say, I don't like to be touched. Physical touch is not my love language. But just because it's not my love language does not mean I don't like to be touched.
Right.
I do like to be touched. I just don't like to be rubbed to death.
See, I'm going to the third couple. I can't concentrate
Okay,
on them.
what is this?
Huh?
What is this?
You're going to the third
What is
couple.
it?
again.
What is this?
You're caressing me and rubbing me.
Oh, okay. But here's the thing. So I had to teach him, and this literally teaching him, because he would say, you don't like to be touched. No, I do like to be touched. But this is how I like to be touched.
But in a bad
So-
way, I would touch her and I would do this, and she'd be like, "Golly, get
No,
off me!"
no,
And
now
that-
you're taking it too far.
Well,
That is not, do that again.
let's go to the first
you
couple.
said
about
if I do
community-
this,
huh?
that ain't what you do.
We're on to the third couple.
That is not what you do.
But this,
That's not what you
the
do.
point, they're like, y'all need counseling. That's what they're saying.
Why we're here? That's why we're here.
We're all here for a reason.
The point is, now these are real things, because we were teaching each other in a bad way how
Right.
to be with one another,
Right.
and didn't even realize what we were
Right.
doing.
And in his own mind, he's formulating, because I don't like to be rubbed, he's taking it as I don't like to be touched. So in essence, I don't touch you at all because you told me you don't like to be touched. That is not what I said, which goes back to the communication. Could y'all appreciate what I just said?
Round of applause from the studio audience. Round of applause, studio audience.
We had to go off set for a minute.
But you know what? When you're in 30 years, even touching is a thing, because if I touch you now and you get hot, I'm on fire.
Well, that's different. That's a whole different thing now.
That's the last segment.
If I can speak to that though, to your point is, and there's a big training in that, because I'm like Bishop. I love to be touched, right? And we'll keep it, G-rated, whatever. But I just like to be touched. That's my language, And she doesn't. She's much like you. She doesn't. And so.
See that?
No, but based off what Bishop said. Let me say this. I'm going somewhere. Let me land this plane. As Bishop says, let me land this plane. Let me land this plane. Is this where if she moves my hand off, right, because of me not understanding what her love language is, but also two things she's been through and things of that nature, now I'm taking it personal. Oh, you don't want me. And now, and it's okay, fine. And then that causes other issues.
He had to preach this. He had to
and
preach
now
the whole way.
Right, I'm on my, because I'm used to like, well, you don't want me, then, 4, 5, 6 other options. And that's the wrong way prior to marriage, but you go to that comfort. And it's like, well, why can't I touch you? And it has nothing to do with me. It's what's going on here. So instead of having that understanding, I'm like, oh, well, she just don't want me. And then that creates, the wedge starts to widen without talking through.
And now you just helped so many people watching that's scrolling through and just listen to that. And that's a reality. Yeah. And then we talk about, especially for quote unquote black men who can't, be there and be monogamous, be faithful, and all of this, because one of the problems is the first one. We don't know how to talk these things through. Then we begin to teach each other that we can't be with one another because we don't have these kind of conversations. Right. See, some men never even heard another man say that. They just gonna do what they got to do.
Because of pride or whatever it is.
Never even heard another man say what because somebody's saying, that's what I'm talking about. And then when they just rose up and say, they're like, no, let the brother speak. I know somebody saying that, let that brother speak. Because again, back to the communication, back to the talking. That's how it feels for you. Yeah. It may not be, I always say, that you may be telling the truth, but it's not complete in what it is that you're saying.
You may be correct,
but it's incomplete in what it is that you're saying. But that's how you feel. And if you don't talk about it, it remains to be, the problem still remains to be there. And then thus you're teaching each other in a bad way. You got two good people teaching each other in a bad way.
Yeah. So can we just do a real quick exercise in that then?
Do we have the time to do that? Okay, come on.
Yeah. So then what would be a way then? Because I love how you just said that. So we're just going to use that. Okay. So what would be a way then that you could teach Veronica how to physically touch you? Or what would be a way that you could teach Dom how to touch you?
We went from G to R now, huh?
And you not feel or make him feel like you do not want
to be touched.
Okay. Because even though, and this is what I found out about Darren, is that when part of his love, or his love language is physical touch, but part of that physical touch is touching me also. It's part of that. And so I just couldn't say, well, again, going back to, I don't like to be rubbed. I love to be touched. So teaching him how to touch me. So one of the ways I like to be touched is I like for him to brush my hair.
Oh, come on. You're not going there.
So anyway.
It's not even fair.
We're not going to go there.
Well, praise the Lord.
But my point being is that's a way of me teaching him how to do it, and yet we're still engaging.
Right.
So how is there a way that you could teach Dom that same thing, and then Dom, same for you, same question for you?
So So I love, Dominique is the best masseuse I've ever had. So I love it. I love to receive a massage from my husband.
Okay.
Love that. What I don't, I'll put it this way. He's very playful though. So during the middle of the day, he'll come up and he'll. Used to, but in the car, he's still gonna get my leg and make me jump, And if I don't jump, then he's like, "Why aren't you jumping?" He just keeps going, it's killing me. So
He ain't killing you, but
you know what I mean,
yeah.
laughing wise, you know. But so I love it when he caresses me. I do love that, you know. He's very passionate and intimate, and I like that about him. So to me, it's just I'm not as playful, and so I think that's where we have an impasse sometimes because I'm not super playful, and he is very playful.
But how do you teach him? Because just like your sister, we the same way.
Yeah.
Same way. It's like, with the kids, I had to play with them. But I'm still gonna play. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah. See, exactly. And I'm like, come on, man. Yeah.
But how do you teach him?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm
That's
still working that out.
I was gonna say that's something
And
you
that's
gotta work
I'm
on.
still working that out.
In 12 years,
And how to
that's
do it
kind of the reality.
Yeah. So how do I do that in a positive manner? You know.
Yeah.
You know.
And the whole point of what we're doing this for is to keep it real and to understand. Sometimes we don't think about the needful things, which is how am I going to teach him that? Because when he does that, that gets on my nerves. And you're not saying anything, but that's how he feels.
Roughing it up.
Yeah. And so, and we've dealt with that too. In our 12th year, I mean, we were definitely dealing with things like that. And many people that are watching are dealing with things like that. That's why we have our last session to come in to go over some of these things and to talk through that. But I love that Blue Note thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you about to just throw that out there. We was
Yeah,
like, is that
yeah,
something
yeah,
we missed?
Yeah.
We didn't know that was like, you buy that at the store? No, you guys made that up.
Well,
Yeah.
of course, we can continue and go on and on and on and on with the Thompsons, but we are about to go into our third segment, so of course you don't want to miss that. But Thompsons, thank you all so much for joining us today. I know we kind of left y'all with a cliffhanger with this one, so we may potentially have to set up something again to where as they're working on, when we come back, then they can explain a little bit more about how they've been teaching each other. So we may have to come back on that. So,
All right.
Or
yeah.
just do another one.
That's
Part
what I'm
two.
talking about. That's what I'm talking
I
about.
didn't know you were saying. I didn't hear that. I heard you were saying it doing today.
No, not today.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that.
No,
Okay.
not today.
Thank you for having us.
Oh. All right. All right. Give some claps to the Thompsons, y'all.
So tell me, what is something you guys like to do together?
One of our favorite things to do is, hands down, go out to eat.
And why is that?
Well, we always joke and say food is our love language.
Yeah.
Just roll it. Just
All right, cool. We're at. I'm gonna start at 30. All right, take Jason and Alicia. So tell me, what is something you guys like to do together?
I would say hands down, our favorite thing to do together is go out to eat.
And why is that?
Well, we joke and say that food is our love language.
Also, we like to try new things together, and we'll try any food spot, be in the ghetto, be in the hill, it doesn't matter. But it's our wind down time. Our days are long. We work 9 to 10, 9 to 5, 9 to 7. So it's our time, our one-on-one time to reconnect.
People always are like, oh, is it date night? And I'm like, it's always date night because we gotta eat.
I love it.
That's one of my favorite things to do too. I think that's one of our love languages.
As a matter of fact,
that
we
ain't
need to
even
get
a
some
love
language after
that's,
this
that's
thing,
a
this
love
meeting.
language that we add, that we done add. Yeah.
We're gonna have to eat after this. Maybe we should do a maturing in marriage while we're eating. That's a good one.
That would be a
Just
good
bring
one.
some good food and just eat it. But
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
look. So I'm just gonna just start it right into this thing back to the touch since we brought this thing up. And don't let me have to get Stephen A up on you on this thing. So the reason why this touch thing is such a big deal is because I don't know, we were at a marriage retreat some years ago and something came out, and then unbeknownst to me, Deacon Jason just screamed out, and so, or he didn't scream out, but he was just like, you know, when my wife be trying to touch or rub on me, whatever the words are.
He said I was burning a hole in his leg.
I heard that and I started screaming. But one way it blessed me because I was like, that's how she act. And it was another man saying it, and he wasn't playing either. He was like, God, you ain't got to be doing all that. It was like, you know, it's just burning a hole in my leg. And I'm like, golly. So, and I mean, he meant that thing. And if you know Alicia, if Alicia does something, Alicia going all out and doing it. And she just, and so, you know, and so when I heard that, I'm like, wow. So, you know, but again, it's a thing of how you work at teaching each other how to deal with one another. How did you guys deal with that or teach each other through that? Because, you know, I would imagine, so you like touch.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my love.
And what's your love language?
Quality time is my love language.
All right. So now you want to touch and you burn a hole in him and she now so this couple has been together for like he said give me the mic.
Yeah.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Yes.
This couple has been together what 18 years? 18 years. All right.
Married 18 years.
Married 18 years. And
yes.
so what? So 20 years, almost 20 something years, right?
Yeah.
23.
Wow. So they've been together for a minute, amen. So and you're gonna be able to kind of feel it. And we want to kind of grab a lot of things from this as quick as possible. But this touching thing, what is going on, man?
So I'll explain that. So
please explain
I
it.
do like to be touched. Like firstly, I like to be touched.
Thank you.
But when you touch me, find other spots. So like she does here, she's gonna rub.
We have a tutorial.
She's gonna rub this one spot until it burns a new hole. And I'm like, it's her comfort, but I'm like, okay, you can move up and down, it moves other, but just
go to the back.
It's a bruise after she finishes. I'm like, we gotta get another spot. Like, and that was just like, it's one. And then she thinks when I move her hand, I'm like, get off of me. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm like, let's move to another spot. That just took. I think we didn't forget that till that day.
That was the day
That
we
day.
had a breakthrough.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about now, we've talked about talk, we've talked about teach, and now we're talking about train. And we come into this because teaching and training is close, but when you get to, like they said in that particular day, whenever we were doing marriage retreat or something like that, because we've had many moments like that too. It's like, man, we were struggling with something, or not even knowing you're struggling. It's just life. It just becomes life. And then she'll move my hand, or she'll move. Like now, to this day, if she moves, she's like, no, I'm fine.
I mean, I could just just move my leg just because to reposition myself. And he take his hand, I'm like,
because I think about Jason saying, "You burning a hole in my thing." What did you guys talk about that, or what did you guys do in terms of that touch piece?
I'll say that when we had that moment at the marriage retreat, I was like, oh, well, I do kind of get lost because it soothes me. And then it's like,
she says so good.
It's just like I start getting relaxed, and then I forget I'm doing it because then it's just like an area of comfort for me. So I'm relaxed and I'm just rubbing, and he's like, "Is she gonna ever stop?" And I'm like, "No, because this feels good." So now it's kind of like if he starts, he'll remind me like, "Okay, babe, here, let me." He'll just reposition, and then it'll be like, "Okay, let me find this spot then," and I'll just start rubbing under here.
Right. It was the point of us understanding that. And going back to communication, that's understanding, okay, that's my limit there.
Right.
Let's move on somewhere else.
Right. And y'all don't get offended.
No. I mean, no, we don't. Sometimes it's a point where she says my turnover kiss at night because I only like to be touched at night. Neither one of us want to be touched when it's time to go to bed. So she be touching me and I give her a kiss and she like, oh, that's your turnover
That's
kiss.
your kiss.
I love it.
To end it, like we separate.
He'll give me a good
See?
squeeze.
That's a good train. Wait, that's a good
over.
train. He said, my turnover kiss. That's a good train.
That's a good train.
Oh, I already know. I gave you my kiss.
You know what's up.
Cut it off.
But Alicia said something that we got to really dig into because I hear that, and I think a lot of people hear that. She said that it soothes me.
Yeah, and that's what I do at night.
Yeah.
I rub his back at night because it soothes me. So I fall asleep by rubbing his back.
And it's dangerous.
He loves it.
Though.
I love it
yeah.
because it soothes me. But it's almost like a.
But I'm picking up something.
Okay.
If you rub my back, I got a bigger back too. You can work the whole thing if you want to.
That's my only thing.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I got to deal with some personal stuff right now, but I'm just saying that you can do that. But I got to step back because we got some great nuggets. So when Alicia said that, because she goes and she rubs her husband, right, and it soothes her and it makes her feel good.
Right.
Now, if she's made to feel, because he shrugs or whatever.
Yeah.
He's not just taking away a rub, but he's taking away a comfort for her. And this is
really
why it's so
good.
important to talk about these things.
That's really good.
Otherwise, you could be training, even teaching your spouse. And that's where we got to where it's
Right.
like, well, I'm not even going to touch you.
Right. And did you guys have that conversation though? That it soothes you?
Yeah,
Or-
we did,
Okay.
and I knew. And part of the frustrating part was I knew it soothed her, but I did not want to. But I wanted to change. But how do I not hurt her
Right.
by saying I want something to change? Hence, like training. Like, how
That's
do I get you to do something else? But I know you like that.
Right.
So that was the kind of how I believe in whatever I do. I want to create the change. So the ultimate solution, I want to change.
Right.
So how can I tell her? I don't want to turn her off. Be like, don't touch me. How
Right.
can I tell her? But that moment, I was like, just don't burn a hole in my leg. But it's just the training part of let's move on to something else.
Right.
But that's the hard, because I'm concerned about her feelings.
Right.
I don't want to hurt her feelings because I want to make sure she's good.
Yes.
So that was the hard part of just how to have that conversation. We did, and she understands. So if I like move my leg a little bit, she know, okay, I got to move somewhere else.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean don't touch me.
Right.
Don't touch me.
But that's beautiful. Moving your leg doesn't mean don't touch me anymore. Because for us, moving the leg or moving something meant to me, don't touch her anymore. And I took like even offense.
That's how you perceived it.
I'm just saying, yeah.
Because
I'm just
we
saying.
never talked it out. We never talked it out. So because we didn't talk it out, there was just a perception that me moving my leg is I don't want you to touch me.
Well, and it goes back
Which
to the
is the
first
importance
couple.
of
When we did try to
communicating,
talk,
of talking.
when we did try to talk, we were always too busy to talk.
That is true.
And so,
Or didn't know our right. We didn't know how to many times.
We were at one Reg retreat. I think it was a nap or somewhere. We were talking about it. We were like, effective communication is like a text message. Message sent.
yeah.
The message I send to you,
Yes.
you need to receive it. If you don't receive it, it was corrupt communication. No matter how clear I thought I was.
Right.
If you didn't receive my message, I didn't communicate well.
Right.
No matter what.
Yep.
So it's creating a space for communication. We come from marriage. Both our parents were married
Years.
50 years? Yeah, 50 years. So we come from marriage, but we come from two completely different marriages.
Right.
When communication is completely different. And as we got older, I used to cherish
Wait a
my
minute,
parents.
wait. Don't go too fast in that.
Yeah, you're going too
Say that
fast.
again.
We
Because
come-
that's really good.
Yeah, we come from 100 years of marriage. Her parents were married 50 years. My parents were married 50 years. So all we know how to do is make a marriage work.
Right.
That's all we
I
know
love
how to
it.
do.
No matter what.
No matter what, and it ain't always good. It's always some tough. It's gonna be some tough times. But we come from two different marriages. I mean, two different
Styles of
marriage.
Yeah.
Her parents are completely different than my parents.
Right.
I just want to tell a quick story about that. When we first got together, Jason was like, we had got into it about something, and he would not argue with me. He was like, I believe that it takes two people to argue. So if I don't engage, you'll just tire yourself out. And I was so frustrated. And I was like, if you won't argue with me, then we can't be together because clearly you don't have enough passion.
Well, I don't have enough wind.
To make me feel
That you
like
in
you
this
care
thing.
about how I feel. And he was like, yeah, I feel like when you calm down, we can have a conversation and I can wait till then. And I'm like, oh, it might not be a deal. But he trained me, right? So now we don't ever just really, we argue, but a lot of times it's
Very
okay, we're gonna talk about
constructive.
it later.
Mhm.
Or I just bring my tone down automatically because I know he's not gonna really come and talk to me if I'm screaming on him. He gonna be like, yeah. I'm
But
not
I
about
love
to
that.
do
Yeah.
But I mean, in the beginning of my relationship, I'm like, oh yeah, no, we don't match. This is not gonna work.
But she comes from her parents argue. My parents didn't show argument to us.
Right, right.
But they, as I got older, they do. And I don't, and you know, they do it their own way.
Yes.
Everybody has their own way.
Right.
I don't want their way of how they doing it. But
Right.
Your
have-
parents are arguing at close the door
closed
in the
doors.
bedroom. Your parents is arguing at the Walmart.
in front
At
of
the
you.
grocery
Yeah, at the
store,
grocery-
don't wherever.
Well, your mama gonna get down no matter where it is. Your daddy will say what he got to say, and he would have kept it moving.
He'll
Yeah.
be like, Sandra.
Right.
She'll be looking at us, and she be like, I don't care about none of
Oh,
that.
she be like? What's this be like? What is all the?
Because that's how she was.
It's the energy.
That's how she
Right.
be, right?
It's the energy.
But the truth of the matter is, you have to set your parameters.
Yeah.
Yes.
What works for you?
Yeah.
That worked for them.
Yes.
That worked for my parents the way they
Yes.
did. Both
Yes.
of them went through things. Both of them had heated discussions.
Yeah.
But my thing is, how can it work?
Yes.
How is ours going to work?
Yeah.
Because ours is different.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm similar to my dad, but I'm not my dad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm similar to my mom, but I'm not my mom. She's not my mom. She's not her mom.
Yes.
How do we make
Yeah.
the Mitchells, this generation of the Mitchells work?
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And if you don't set the parameters, you get into arguments that go way out of control, and you can't reel it back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you never
Yeah.
set those parameters.
Yeah. Are
Yeah.
y'all taking notes back there?
Yeah, I think they
All
taking
right.
notes.
All right.
So, how today do you all do you think about it consciously about training one another, because you're in a season to where you have enough, like when we talked about touching. Now we can start training because we have enough around us to do training. Are you guys conscious about that, or you think about how you actually train one another as you do life together?
Or how do you, even if you're unconscious about it?
Yeah, I think it's more unconscious. One, training starts day one of getting
It does, yeah.
But it's a conversation that people don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Nobody training me. I'm not training.
I ain't no dog. I ain't no
train me,
animal.
but
How
it
you gonna
is-
train me?
It is truly a training, and it doesn't stop.
Yes.
Like the 19-year-old us is not the 43-year-old.
Exactly.
And so
I'm
it's-
still 42.
You were tripping fall. But it's a constant training. Learning is training.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're constantly have to learn each other because our relationship's going to evolve.
Yeah.
We had goals in our teens that didn't come to pass, but it didn't mean that it changed us.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to be this and this, we were going to do this and this, and it didn't happen. But it was like, okay, what's our next move? What's our next, how we train? What's our next level?
Right.
So training is always constant. I remember when Alicia, she used to smoke cigarettes back in the day. And we
Say
had
it ain't so.
we had two cars.
We all start somewhere.
We had two. We
I
had
did
two.
too. Don't take.
We had two cars. Well, we had three cars, but we had two cars, and gas was like it is today, ridiculous high. And I traveled, so I had a big old truck, and she had a little Civic or something. I was like, okay, babe, we got to figure this out. We just moved together. I'm gonna take your car. You're gonna take my car to work. But I can't stand smoking. I couldn't even stand the ash on my truck. So every time when I would get in my truck, it'd be ash on the outside. She didn't smoke in the outside, and I would blow up every time. And this goes to training, because sometimes you think you training someone else, but you're really being trained yourself. So I would blow up about it. Every time I get home, if I pulled in the driveway and I seen the truck and this white stuff, and I'm hot when I walk in the house. Until one day I came home and I left, and I was so frustrated. I was like, she's not changing. So I called her. I said, Alicia, am I asking too much to just say don't smoke in front of me near the truck? Is that too much? And then something clicked, and she was like, no, you're not. And she stopped. But it was how I was coming at her.
Right.
So really, I thought I was training her, but really she was training me on how to approach her about something.
That's beautiful.
So it's a constant. We're gonna train each other every day until
Yes.
the day our last days is gonna be training.
But
hear that? Beautiful.
you guys
Beautifully
have
said.
gone to the gym and you've worked out. There is a difference though, because teaching is something that a person can receive or not receive. Training is more intentional, and training you feel that. So just like when you went to the gym, somebody was training you to do something up to the place where you can throw up. Teaching, you don't have to be throwing it. Teaching, you're going over something, but training is something like I'm going to even pay for this. I'm so invested in this thing, and that's where, and it does start when you begin, but everybody's not willing to pay the price.
Right.
No.
Right.
To be trained.
Right. Yes.
It's a commitment level.
It is definitely a commitment. Yeah.
And training is there, but you got to commit to that level.
Exactly.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
I would even say to the intentionality of it, I think one thing we've done to help train each other over years is we have constantly talked about other couples, right? So I think that is how we have lucked upon natural training throughout the course of our marriage, because every time we see a couple, if they go through something or if they experience something or we see something in a movie or on TV, we talk about it and be like, well, how does that make you feel? Or how would you respond in that situation? So then if we ever go through that situation, we're not confused or surprised by it because we kind of know how each other would react in
That's
that.
good.
And we sync our information and sync our thought process before it happens. So then when it comes upon us, we're like, oh yeah, well, we had talked about that. And so I'm not mad that he expects me to change my name, because I knew when my mom was so adamant about keeping her name hyphenated that he felt some kind of way about it. You know what I mean? So we talked about that.
That's
and
good.
So
That's really
we had
good.
a discussion on how I felt about keeping my name, or did I need to hyphenate it? And then when we got married, it was no issue, you know. But if we hadn't had that conversation when we seen that,
that's good.
We wouldn't have known. It would have been a harder thing for us to deal with when we encountered it. So I think that is just something we've done to. We've trained each other to discuss things as we see them, when we're not emotionally charged by the situation, but we know it's relevant. You know?
So how did y'all deal with that? Your mom wanted the name hyphenated. What's your name?
Alicia Mitchell.
Yeah. So how did you come? So some people say, well, we doing everything your way.
So that was another story.
Yes. How often?
So
yes.
we were at a wedding, and we were. I don't think we were together 6 months when we got this wedding, and they called her mom. Her mama she holds on to her maiden name, which is that's just how she is. She wants to be called Pitts Johnson, and if you call her Johnson, she's not moving.
She won't even respond.
So when she was coming to the wedding party, she was not responding. She stood there, and I looked at Alicia. I said, I swear, if you ever do that, it'd be over right then. You're not gonna disrespect me. So she understood how I felt about it, but I said jokingly, but no, I wasn't joking. but you know, that's something I was passionate about.
Yeah, they go to passion
right there.
Right.
So she knew, but sometimes we think training is going to be quick, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes training takes a long
That's
time.
good.
Sometimes we still train each other on things we should have gotten day one, but we're still training. So training is a long-term process too. So it's not quick, like, oh, I'm gonna tell her this and we'll be trained about it.
Right.
That's not
No,
how it works.
that's not it. Yeah. I want to, because you brought that up, and that is so important for people to understand, because teaching is, I can see you do it. So I can, using the gym, I can go to the gym and I can see someone and they're teaching me how to do it.
How to bench press.
They're teaching me how to bench press.
But when it gets to the training part.
But training, I have to be in the game. I have to be a part of it. And that's where people look at that as being a negative thing. It's not. It's teaching you how to love me, and me how to love you, how to be with me, and how to be, because Deacon Jason, you said it, which is so true. We come from 100 years of marriage, but the way they did it, the way our parents did it, we did the same thing. But it took us longer. It took us longer because we didn't have that understanding, nor did we have teaching to help us with that. We just come into a marriage, and I come from product of divorce. He comes from marriage and years and years and years of marriage. I come from years and years and years of divorce. So my first is, situation happens, I'm cutting. Whereas he's like, no, we work it out. We talk it through. That's foreign to me. I don't understand that. And so he had to train me to say, no, you keep talking about divorce, I'm going to take you to get the divorce. And it jolted me, because it's like, that's really not what I wanted. Right. That's not what I wanted. I wanted something different. I wanted to be better. And so in that, that's one of those things to where he had to train me in that, and there have been things that I've trained him in, and I see our producer doing this. So you guys, this has just been awesome. Awesome. Yeah, give us some hearts. I know you guys are enjoying this, but we got to cut it off so we can make sure we get to our last segment. But
and then everybody can come in and we can probably still.
Just want to give it up for the Mitchells. Give it up for the Mitchells, you guys. Woo, 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 woo. Yes, we're definitely going to have to do this again because I know we have a lot of information. We can talk, as y'all can see.
And let us know if you all have any questions. Let us know. We'll try to get somebody on there to see if you have any questions, and we can try to answer some of those questions. Or some of our guests here can answer some of your questions if you have any. But we do have one more segment to where we all come together. So
you don't want to miss this.
Yeah, so you want to stay in tune for that. So look, we're just going to be here. We're just going to get ready to bring everybody together. So are we ready to do that?
We're ready.
Well, they got to come out.
It's a transition in his mind. That's he's visualizing stuff.
Everybody in your spots.
All right, everybody coming together.
We hope you got. Can I talk, or what am I doing? I can talk. We hope you guys have enjoyed what we've done so far as we continue into our last segment. This has truly been a blessing to us. As I said, we just wanted to we're missing Dom right now. Here he comes. He's part of the production team, so he's working things out. But we wanted to do this as we know it's just a blessing to so many people and that's why we wanted to talk about the different topics so that you can hear some of the things. Loved what everyone shared, and we're still something that we're going to continue to do as well. But just wanted you all to kind of get a little invitation into our lives and into their lives, and to see how we all function and how we all do different things. 4 different couples, how we handle things, how we deal with things, but yet at almost a year and a half, almost at 12. Wait a minute. So how long have you guys been together?
Almost a year and a half.
No, how long have you been together?
Oh, 5 years.
So you guys have been 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years.
Wow,
No, we've known each other 5 years, so 4 years.
So you guys have been 4 years, yeah. Because on the second Christmas of y'all being together, you stayed in the bed. No, it was on the New Year's Eve, so you didn't make it to New Year's Eve service because you was in the bed crying because you and Randall had broken up, huh? Oh, we'll talk about that another segment. So
we're here now.
Thompson.
We didn't talk about that story.
Thompsons, you guys have been together 14.
Yeah.
Mitchells have been together 23. We've been together 33. How long have we been together? 33.
Yeah.
We've been together 33 years. So again, just wanted you getting different aspects of each marriage and relationship, because we didn't come into it being married. We came into having the relationship, whether it was a friendship first and I think for all of us it was a friendship first. Yeah, I think for all of us it was a friendship first. So, but again, just glad you guys have been with us. Now we're going to talk about this last segment. We're going to talk about trust.
Yeah, and the whole purpose of trust is that for us, Monique and I, it has been really challenging to get to a place, to get to the expression of what trust really means, and to live it out. And especially if you're listening to what we were talking about, it can erode trust, because if it could be something as small as, if I can't, I can't even touch, that can mess up my trust for you. I trust you to watch the bank account, but I don't trust you with my emotions. That's why I love what the Mitchells are talking about, because when Alicia, I mean, that was beautiful when she says, I enjoy doing that. That relaxes me. So then it can say something in the talk, in the communication. It can say something back if Jason interacts with her in a negative way. He could be teaching her in a wrong way, saying that he doesn't care about my feelings when he never said that. And that's what we were talking about. I never say I didn't, I don't like to be rubbed. I never said I don't like to be touched, but we construe it that way.
Yeah.
So if you don't communicate well, you don't talk well, if you don't teach well, if you don't train well, you'll never get to that place of real trust. And so the thing is, real trust really gives you an opportunity to paint on the canvas of your life your definitive work with each other. I mean, it really gives you an opportunity to, like I can burn a hole in her, but today I'm not taking, I'm not being, I'm not going to be like, or offensive and anything like that, because that's why I love why Alicia brought that out, because I trust you with my feelings and emotions.
Right.
Before, I locked those things away. And so even though we were doing life together and we're married and all that, but I don't trust you with my feelings because we weren't talking about it.
Well, I mean, to give scope, because I think this is so important, because you didn't trust me because there was something that was breached early in our relationship.
Yeah.
So because there was something that was breached early in our relationship, because when I think that you can enter into a relationship in two different ways. You can enter into a relationship with, I completely trust you until you do something, or until something happens, or I don't trust you at all because I really don't trust anyone because something else happened to breach that trust, which has messed me up altogether. So for you came into the relationship completely open. I trust you because you have no reason to hurt me. I came into the relationship, I'm hurt, so I don't trust you. So you had to earn my trust, but in the midst of you earning my trust, I was doing other things contrary to you earning my trust that was hurting yours, that was killing your trust. So I think that's very important because, again, I think if you don't have bring definition to a thing and you, again, coming into a relationship of any kind, it could be a friendship, it could be any type of a relationship. If you do not establish that or know that of yourself, you're setting yourself up to lose and not to win. So I think that's very important.
And to that, I want to bring a couple of things up that's really important here is that as we bring them in here, because I didn't trust you, I also equated it to you didn't love me. I never said that, and I would have never communicated that.
Right.
But it was comfortable for me to come to that conclusion, so then I couldn't be hurt anymore.
You just said something.
And I never said it. Let's sit down and talk about it. Well, that would have never come up because we've been together for so many years. We've done this, that, and the other. And what do you mean? Because see, I know a lot of people. We've counseled. I don't know how many couples. I don't know. And everybody said, "Oh, we trust each other." And everybody here, everybody said, "Oh, we trust each other." But then you start digging in. It's like that don't sound like trust, right? Is that trust, right?
Wait.
Okay, I want to get this other part out. The other part is, and I want to definitely make sure that the Mitchells get in on this because I think it'll sweep up with everyone else. Because I remember hearing, I think it was Jason saying it. It may have been in a men's meeting or something. I don't know, or just where we were, but it was, I think, in a men's meeting. And what he said it really blessed me. And I don't think all the brothers really heard when he said it. He says, me and Alicia, when we got together, we didn't have a whole bunch of emotional baggage like that. I mean, we had stuff, but we didn't have a lot. Was that like a men's meeting? Yeah. And because of that, I think like he may have come and brothers be talking about, man, I'm going through this, man, I'm going through that. And he's like, well, shoot, I'm going through stuff, but I ain't going through that. And that's kind of where you hear kind of Mariah and Randall, to where it's like, I'm not, going through that. But when you get to Dom and Veronica, it's a little bit different. And to us, it's a little bit different because we are going through some stuff because when so if you back to the Mitchells, purposefully, they had different, relationships and things like that, but it wasn't like, say, what me and Dom was doing, Veronica Monique was doing. And so now if Monique pulls away, I'm thinking about Sally Sue. Because that's now in my mind to think about. When God says that was never for you, you shouldn't have even never had anyone to even think about. So getting to the place of trust was even that much harder. And here's the thing, on top of it, I'm not even talking to her about it because I dare not talk to her about, well, you shrugging away, but guess who used to love it? Sally Sue used to love it, and I used to burn a hole up in that thing, boy. She loved that, boy. And here you go.
Yes. Because I have mine ready. I had it ready.
and so when you and it's these unspoken things that we deal with, because many of you may be listening to us now. You're engaging in unlawful relationships. And when you do that, it has to be paid for one way or the other. And not to sound preachy, but this is why we need Jesus to help us with these things that were unlawful. And when you don't, someone has to pay for it.
Somebody got to pay for it.
And so what we decided, we said, we need Jesus to pay for this because I couldn't handle the cost of this anymore. But God says, no, listen, if you listen to what I say do, it's on my back. You won't have to deal with some of that. So you can do like the Emma Coors or the Mitchells. I mean, everybody has sinned and fallen short. But to the level or to the degree that you have heaped stuff on you will be to the level and the degree that you have to give it to Christ. So the Thompsons and the Barons have had to go to Jesus on our knees and on our face. They just have to go and sit down at dinner and say, Lord, help us. Look, just now that we set it up, now we'll let.
Well, wait, I want to tell this. I thought this was funny when you just brought up trust. It just made me chuckle a little bit because this morning we were getting ready and you came in the bathroom and you said, I don't know your location on your phone. I'm not logged into your location on your phone, so I need to be logged into your location. The first thing came up, why you need to know my location? Then I thought, well, what he thinking? Because why he asked me to be logged into my location? I guess because we've been together for so long. To me, that's just a natural thing. Like, I'm not thinking about if he's logged into my location or not logged into my location.
And I ain't thinking about it either.
But just for him to come up and
because it says on my phone, you know my location.
I do know your location.
She's like, you know my location. And I don't play around my phone like that. So I said, well, what's her location? So I'm trying to figure out, I said, I just don't know how to do this. And so I was like, I was about to actually call Jason. I was like, how do you get this thing? Because nobody was around. So I'm like, I'm trying to figure out your location. And I couldn't see it. And I looked and I unfollowed you or unlocated you or something.
Oh my goodness.
And then I brought it back. So I thought you could see that.
No, I just thought that was funny because I'm like, why he don't need to know my location?
Yeah.
So.
And then I'm the kind of person, because then you watch the movie and you think about that was the time when I could have followed you, and that's not when you really need me now. And then I don't know where your location is, and that's how I think, Because when have I don't care about you.
I know, that's why I said.
I don't care about seeing you at Target.
What are you thinking?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, we talk to each other,
No,
but
yes.
you know what I mean? And in the movie, then when they go and say, you should have followed him.
I know, babe. I know.
I know. Okay. All right.
You just old like that, but okay. I know you. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So come on.
I still know your location.
I'll give you my location. I'm right here right now. That's my location.
All right. So the big thing, we have to learn how to appreciate. I think Jason was saying about training is since the beginning. Trust is also. Mm-hmm. We are always auditioning for trust, because you can build a lifetime of it, and you could do one thing, and you could lose it all. You could build, and if you do something, and that's why, and I keep bringing up what Alicia said, because what she said is that, I'm rubbing him, but she said, it makes me feel good. Mm-hmm. And that's why when we talked about talk first, it's so important to talk. Mm-hmm. So you can understand the person that you're with, mm-hmm. and even like what Mariah mm-hmm. said, I can talk. Mm-hmm. But if I talk right now, it may mess up the trust that I need. So you need to understand how I communicate as I need to understand how you
Very
communicate.
important. Yes.
And then so we can teach each other how we do this.
Yeah.
And just
that's
like,
a form of teaching.
Yeah. And just like the Thompson said, like he said, like, you know, he just flippantly just said, you know, the blue book, or like, what's the blue note?
The
What's
blue note.
Yeah. I mean, that was fire, man. I was like, we could have missed that.
Yeah.
Because so many people don't know how to go and do something like that, a move like that, or, you know, just like what the Mitchells was saying, you know, make a certain move that can make a difference. You know, he could have just said, Alicia, you smoke one more time by the car. You know, I would have took the thing. I would have made a spectacle out of it. Like, Monique, you keep smoking in here. I would have got what's that thing you blow outside?
You would have done that too.
He
would have got the power thing and probably sprayed me with it. Yeah.
I tried all that.
I should be stubborn at times.
He needs to be passionate about the.
When he came to me with the heart, I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was making you feel like that.
And then now he feels so like, cause see, now Jason is Oakland to the bone. He, you know, I was looking at Jason in the picture. He's like this, like he Ice Cube. I'm like, why are they smiling? What the heck? You know, Alicia done broke him down too. Alicia. So, and what are you guys' thoughts in terms of trust as it relates to? First of all, let me ask you this: Have you guys ever breached trust in the marriage before on any level? Absolutely. On any level? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What does that feel like? What does that feel like? Because there's people watching. What does it feel like when trust is breached? And again, that's what we use Alicia's as an example, because that's such a great, when something is tied to your emotions and you haven't discussed it. And here's the thing, the answer is to talk about it. And if you haven't talked about it and it's done, it's still breached.
Right.
You still feel that. How's it felt when, you know, your trust has been breached? I'll just start. When my trust is breached, it's like the world has ended.
Talk about it.
It is like, is there going to be a tomorrow? I'm just saying, I'm trying to find a way to cope. Is shopping,
I gotta
eating.
get into bed and pull up.
No, I don't do that. Now, that I don't do.
The colors fade, the flavor goes.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, because I'm not gonna be. This is me. I'm not gonna be no punk about it. I'm not gonna be no punk about it. Now, I'm mad. I know how to silently be mad, and I don't want you touching me. I don't want you fooling with me until this thing is adequately discussed. I'm a trip when I'm mad about things.
And you still hold on to it.
Oh, for sure. For
it's
sure.
25 years later.
For sure. For sure. Until it is adequately discussed. Because you hit me in a place where I even, you know, I've been with you, you know, most of my life. I've never been hit there before. This girl know how to hit somebody and get up the next day like nothing ever happened. Like it was never, like you didn't say that? You didn't? I mean, really? And so I had to learn how to adapt.
Once I discuss it, it's done. It's been discussed.
You like the Vietnam, you like the Viet Cong. I'm gonna come and put a thing, a shank in you. And okay, we discussed it. I shanked you. It's okay. You're alive. It's okay.
I think it hurts so bad because your spouse holds your secrets. Like she knows more about me than anybody in the world. So when she touches me, like I'm the person that I will bounce out the house because I'm not going to argue, because like Mariah said, in that moment, I can get so angry, I will say things that I can't come back from. And I might not really feel it, but I'm just trying to throw a dagger. So I will bounce out the house and be like, to the 10th, I will drive all over the Bay Area until I can come home and figure out how I can get this. How is this going to work? And it's probably going to take a call from her to get it straight because she hurt me. So, when your spouse holds your secrets, they hold everything for you. And that's what gives them so much power.
That's beautiful.
When he bounces out of the house, do you feel like he may not come back?
I used to feel that way. But now it's more like
he'll be back. He just had to.
Now I just take that time to gather myself
and figure out how to apologize.
More like try and understand his perspective
Yeah.
because in the moment I can get very tunnel vision. So it'll be like, no, I want to talk about it now. I want to go through this, but if he'll leave and give me an opportunity to actually say my prayers, and then the Holy Spirit come in and he'd be like, you need to calm down. This is not what you need to do. And then by the time he gets back, I'm ready to talk about it in a way. Back in the day, I'd be like, well, shoot, why you even want to be with me anyway if you feel this way about me? But now, over time, it was kind of like you keep coming back. Obviously, this isn't going to end it. And we've been going to marriage retreats for years. So we decided a long time we're not going to ever talk about divorce, right? So now we upset. So what we going to do about it? How do we fix this?
That right there, because we've been teaching that for years, that kills a lot of unnecessary stuff when you just get that point right now that there's no divorce. So now
that's not even an option.
That's not an option.
That option is off the table.
That.
It's like
we've never broken up.
Right.
Like we don't do that. Like what sense? We ain't fixed each other breaking up.
Right.
But it took to get to that even was a journey because when we first moved in together and we got mad at each other, both of us bounced out the house. So it was like, where you at? I'm here. Well, why did both of us leave? Somebody got to stay.
Lights still on.
Right, everything.
Well, you ain't about to be leaving me at the house.
And when I say bounce, I'm not leaving for hours. I'm leaving for a few minutes. I'm never spending night nowhere else. I'm coming back home. And I think it's important for us both to know we're coming back home.
Yeah.
And we're coming back. We're going to have to come back to the situation. Maybe not now. The right thing said at the wrong time makes the wrong thing to say. So is important.
Let's let it come down to you guys, 18 now 12, because when she bounces out of the house.
I wanted to ask real quick. You guys never broke up.
You all up in the mic, boy. You heard.
You guys never broke up physically, but mentally.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure, but because we just never. Like in the past, I was like, dang, I kind of don't want to be with her right now. Yeah, you have those thoughts.
Right.
But the reality is that's not the. Yeah. She's my other half. Like I'm a twin and I have another half. But when she came into my life, she is my other half. Like she knows more than about me.
So we're y'all just opposite because her twin. So.
Yeah. So it's like she. They say she came in and replaced him a little bit. And like, family's important to me. So you had to, in my mind, I'm like, dang, why is she doing that? I'm done. I'm not really done because I'm not gonna tell her because I know I ain't really done. That's just talk.
I love it. Because we've never broke up physically, but mentally, I'm right there with you. I'll be like, I'm here, but I ain't here. So yeah. But go ahead, answer the question.
Okay.
So, well, I think for the both of you, because I know you're one Veronica, to get up and to bounce.
Yeah.
Which makes Dom feel as though it messes up his trust. It makes him feel like, oh, she's about to leave me. And so now, and that's what we like to do is get ourselves around people who got our answer, because then it helps us to understand maybe what's happening is not so crazy, but help us to deal with it in a better way.
Right.
Because sometimes it may be, I don't know. And that's what you guys have to talk about. But maybe you're not crazy. You could stay home and end up saying something and even damage things even worse.
Right.
But again, I think it's like what they were talking about. You guys have to figure out that thing for yourself. But I know that you guys have had a challenge because it looks like when you bounce, he perceives it as, oh, she doesn't want to be with me.
Right.
Or she's not in the, as Alicia was saying, she ain't passionate about this thing like I am.
Oh God, that. Tell you. So yeah, trying to leave that. At this point, it's like, okay, gas prices are so high. So
exactly.
I tried to put myself in the room.
Go in the backyard.
A couple weeks ago because we was going at it. And I was like, I just need some peace so I can think and process and figure it out. And he's passionate Turk, and he unlocks one door, unlocks two doors, three doors. I'm like, dang on! I can't be in the closet and just think and chill. So, but in the beginning, because my trust, I grew up with a lot of broken trust, and everyone left in one way or the other. People weren't stable or stayed, and so that really created a lot of insecurity within myself, and it's like, well, I love you, but you know, am I enough that you'll stay? You know, and he's proven that he wants to stay. I want to stay with him. He wants to stay with me. And the thing that really came about was, like you were just saying, I hold his secrets, you know, and I didn't realize, because everyone else has left in different ways. Yeah. I didn't realize how valuable I am to him. And I think that we really just discovered that in having some deeper conversations this year. Like, no, you know, you're my why. I'm like, I'm your why. You know, it's like, well, ain't nobody going nowhere for real, you know. But it was coming to the realization of knowing my worth with my spouse. You know, really understanding him, because, you know, he is very passionate. And when I do break trust, or, you know, I spend too much or do whatever, you know, and I realize, okay, that hurt him, but, you know, he'll do what you do, Bishop, which is, don't touch me, we ain't talked about it, I'm good, you know. And it's like, okay, wait a minute now, how do I recover? You know, like, trying to recover can be a little difficult sometimes, but we're getting there, you know, so we're getting there. That's how I kind of, did I answer the question, or just go off on my tangent?
I think, again, if everyone is listening, when you come into a relationship and you have a lot of baggage coming in, it is far more difficult to manage through than it is when you have minimal baggage. Everybody comes with stuff. You know, I see Randall and Mariah, and you know, I even watch them sometimes argue, and, you know, I was like, boy, I mean, I wish we were arguing like that, you know. Their arguing is so funny, you know. So cute. Well, you know, I mean, they get, which is funny because they'll argue right in front of us too. I mean, they don't have a problem. You know, Randall will get, Mariah, you're not listening to me though, and
he's so quiet. His voice so quiet. He yelling, and it's like.
But I she knows I'm serious.
But she knows she's serious.
I have to drop it down here so she knows I'm not just yelling at you. I need you to understand I am serious, and everything coming out of my mouth is for real. So I need you to hear me out.
I think sometimes she riles you up though, just to make sure that you're in this thing.
I think so too.
Yeah, she just want to say, she'll say something and then rile you up, and then it's like, because Mariah will just sit there. It's like he'll go nuts or whatever, and then she'll just sit there. Okay. I'm like, well, what was all of that? Why would you?
Exactly.
Why would you wind him up and then, you know, just have a seat?
Okay, Randall.
Yeah, but when you have a lot of baggage behind you, it's more to it. That comes with that.
Right.
And so as we have people watching us now, some people have come into a relationship, not a lot of baggage, and it can run a lot smoother. You have others that come into a lot of baggage. You got to take care of that and make sure that you unpack what is on the inside of your soul.
Right.
And most people don't do that. And no matter what kind of relationship you're in, you should always have an environment like this. We still learn from other people.
Yes.
And you have to humble yourself so you can learn still. I don't care how many years look, we know people who've been married for years and still haven't gotten some of the basics on what it means just to have a healthy marriage. And you can never stop trying to find health. As you try to pursue trust, and trust is a big thing to think about. Go look it up in the dictionary to really say, I trust you.
Well, I think for me, what helps me, especially today, and I wish I would have known this, so this is a nugget. I wish I would have known this when I was younger. I trust God, and because I trust God,
that's good.
It helps me trust you, because my trust is not in you, my trust is in God, and my trust is in the fact that he carries me and he has me, which means, as the word says, he's not going to leave me nor forsake me, which means he's not going to hurt me or harm me. And because of that, my trust being in him, he will even direct me. Sometimes I feel like if I am looking at you a certain way because I'm in expectation of something, it's like shift that expectation up, and not in a negative way. It's not a don't trust him, he don't have the answer. No, what he's letting me know is I am your answer, but I'll give you answer through your husband. And so because of that, it helps me to be confident. It helps me to be comforted in the fact that you got me. And so you won't. So going back to why you want to know my location, it ain't because he tried to check up on me to see if, where is she? She done told me she gonna be here. No, that's not why he wants my location. He want my location because if I done fell off the cliff, that was the time I needed the location. No. So my point is,
I was just playing on my phone, to be real.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, I'm using that because there are some people like, you don't need to know my location. Yeah. And that's your spouse. That's your spouse.
I know,
but you don't need to know my location.
You want to know my location.
Right. But I'm just saying that because, again, and typically, I know when people deal with having issues of trust, it is because of something that's within them. And again, and I'm not saying that you don't have that, but you have to, that's something that needs to clearly be talked about. But again, I think that's what helps me with my trust towards you, because yes, I was the one that always wanted to bounce. I was the one and that's what Veronica, he had to, it was always approving. Right. You prove yourself and you prove yourself and you prove yourself. Okay, I'm gonna hurt you because you gotta prove yourself, which that's backwards in thinking. So I'm making you prove something because I'm hurting you. So I need to see if you really gonna be there because I've been hurt by those that supposedly love me, that's walked out on me. They didn't prove themselves. Yeah. Right. That's backwards in thinking. And so when you really understand that, you come to understand this has nothing really to do with him. It has everything to do with me. How do I need to work this out of me? It has nothing to do with you. And so again, I think very important, very important.
I think one of the things too is that what helped us learn how to trust one another is getting around couples that trusted one another.
Yep. Yes.
Because then, even when we were struggling or getting challenged, and there were many days, I would say that's a good example. Well, we would almost argue about that sometimes because you're like, well, don't be trying to equate me and her and us to that because that's totally different. But I kept us around.
You did
because I think like what you said with the smoke, I didn't know what else to do here. We just had to get on a plane and go around somebody who has some trust in a relationship. Right. And that really helped us.
It did. And it still does.
It still does. We still do it to this day.
We're still working. Our marriage is still work in progress. Yeah. It's not, oh, we've made it 33 years and we've made it. We're here. No, it's still work in progress. You're changing, I'm changing, and because of that, we should be changing.
And I love what you said about trusting God, because that's a real thing, because I can still do something. And you can still do something.
And it takes the pressure off of you too. It takes the pressure off of you.
The good news about 30 years, the pressure, I don't feel the pressure.
I know.
I don't even feel it.
So it takes the pressure off of the spouse as well.
Yeah, joy to the world.
Yeah.
I mean that, because I used to have pressure over that. You know, trying to be right or trying to, okay, I
would call him up and say, where are you?
I'm like,
that's just how
praise
I am.
Praise God we didn't have iPhones back then.
You praise the Lord. Goodness. No, not much about praise the Lord. No, I needed one. But because I would call him and say, where are you? I just like to know, I think that's the motherly part of me, or the nurturing part of me. I just want to know. It's not that I'm asking you because I want to know,
nurturing
and so, no, but I would call and say, where are you? And it's like, oh, I'm on my way home. That's okay, well, where are you? Okay, I am, no, like, where are you? I'm on 580. Okay. Okay, which 580? Are you 580 in Stockton? Or are you 580 out here in the Bay Area? And I mean, we would go through this and it was a mess.
So now you know how I felt. That's how I felt when I asked you, just like about when you asked about your location. You want me, I'm on 67th, right in front of the pink house. What you want to know for what? How's that going to move your day?
Because if I'm preparing something, that's another conversation.
I didn't trust you.
Exactly.
Why you want to know? Then you ask me to go to the store. You know I don't want to go to the store. See, when you get down to the truth of things, I do not want you to know where I am. I mean, and back in those days, I don't want you to know where I am because, first of all, I just want to keep me a mystery anyway because I don't trust you. You a trip.
That's good.
How you going to ask me where I am? I mean, you know where I am? Away from you. That's where I am.
I got the cameraman laughing.
Because that is real talk. I do not want you to know where I am. Or you see, I mean, now we got phones like this, but, I mean, like, you acting like everything is fine. Just because you didn't cool off don't mean, that I have.
Yeah.
And
All
then,
right, moving on to the next couple.
Well, I'm just saying, but today we're able to go and to have a challenging moment. And I love how the Mitchells kind of brought that up, because then hanging around the right people help you to elevate your game. Mm-hmm. Meaning, so like, not like they heard from us that we're not getting a divorce, but they already kind of seen it in their family. But then now you hear another couple say, we're not getting a divorce. Now you elevate your game. And so same thing with other things. You got to be around people to help elevate your game and get you that much closer to trust. And so even to this day, like we try to do things now in the, well, if I can go there, in the spirit to elevate our game. We're trying to hear each other in a deeper way to elevate our game. It's almost, we kind of liken it, we love basketball. So we liken it to where if I got my eyes closed and I'm point guard and I throw you the ball, that, the ball ain't hitting you in the head.
Right,
it's like,
right.
Now we done went over this. Now know we're going to the hoop.
Exactly.
And then don't be getting mad because the ball hit you in the head. You know that this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make a slam dunk. Man, we talked about this. We prayed about this. And too many couples try to put their governing values together, try to put something together, but then they can't seem to make their slam dunk or to make their shot. They can't seem to get to that next level. So what they do, they go to the level of their thinking in their relationship and think that's good.
Yeah.
And then they much rather watch somebody else on TV do relationship instead of do relationship at the level that God has called them to.
Right.
And so I think it's really important that for trust, you never stop. Because God is always trying to get something greater and bigger out of you. And so again, for you guys, so for the Emma Coors, how do you guys deal with trusting your relationship?
For me, I feel like I started off coming into the relationship, like I trusted him right off the back because, he didn't do anything. There was no reason for me not to trust him, until there was. And so from there, I think it was just a matter of, I think for me, being around people, seeing other relationships was great, but it also got to me because it was like, okay, y'all good. I'm not. So like seeing y'all and being around you guys, being around other couples, it was like, how do we now get not back there, but like get to a better place? Because I can see somebody being happy. I could see another couple trusting, but it's like, okay, I know I can get there, but there are no steps to how to get there. So we know it's possible, but how do we now get back or get to a better place? And for me, it was more so of internal work, because I think for me, it was like, okay, you broke the trust, so you need to work on yourself. Or you need to do this, when it was like, okay, first off, I had to humble myself in times like that where it's like, what have I done to you, God, that I broke trust, or I dishonored you, or I did this? It was like, I couldn't like throw rocks at Randall knowing that I've done things to God and to other people, whether I meant it or didn't mean it. And so it was like, first off, I need to humble myself around that. And then it was like, okay, let me pray for him, which was extremely hard and hurt. But it was like, let me pray for him. And at first, no, I may not have meant the words, but it was like, let me start the action. And then when it got to the point of, okay, now I'm meaning this, because divorce wasn't an option, whether I thought about it or not. I know I'm not divorcing. I was pregnant. We have a baby. I ain't going nowhere. That baby is going to have two happy parents together. So for me, it was like, divorce is not an option. Let me pray for my husband, but let me see what's on me as well that I can work on in our relationship that will help us get to a place where we need to get to, whether it's not being judgmental or whether it's not comparing, just different things that I would do that didn't help the process of me trusting again. And so it was like, let me do just some internal work. And that took a very, we're still working. Yeah. I would say we're still working through a lot of things, but I would say we are in a much better place now than where, we were. And so, but like I said, I think it just took time and a lot of work talking, us meeting,
Training.
you know, yeah, like a lot of that. And then, like I said, really trusting God, going back to like, okay, God, I put my trust in you when it comes to him so that I don't have, and God really, he speaks to me. I may not listen all the time, but like, I'm really big on dreams. So I'll have a dream and I'll go. I remember I had a dream about something he did. I had a dream about it and I asked him, I said, did da-da-da happen? No. And I was like, okay, you know, because I had no other reason just to find out, yep, it did. And I'm like, the Lord done told, and I didn't take it, like, I didn't take it at, like, and I knew God spoke to me through
Brothers ain't
dreams.
supposed to admit, yeah. He nervous.
But I think because I literally was like, I had a dream. You would think that somebody saying, oh, I had a dream. Oh, dang, like, let me go ahead and just, because I'm like that. If you say you had a dream or if you tell me, the Lord, oh, let me just go ahead and say it so we ain't digging deeper in no lie. Yes, I did that, you know, like, you know, but it was like, okay, well, then let's move on with life. But then it was, from that point, it was like, man, God, because I struggled when it was time for me to heal with it being like, God, I trusted you. Like, I put, and you did not let me know. And it was like, girl, I did.
Right.
He may have lied, but I did tell you, and I did. And it was a matter of what did you do with that, you know? So
yeah. No, and you said some great things. I love that earlier the Mitchells mentioned about, you know, they grew up in a way two different backgrounds, your parents, as it relates to marriage. I know for me, I grew up when my parents were divorced. Her parents sitting right over there, you know, you guys were together have been together for a very long time. So for me, I saw what I did not want to be, and I more so took that lesson. I mean, you don't have to tell me twice. I took that, and it's like, okay, I know what I don't want my marriage to turn out like. So divorce it's never been an option. It's not going to happen. I'm not allowing it to happen. I'm very solution driven, so we're gonna find a way to do what we gotta do to figure a way out of this. And more importantly, I'll say that of course there was a time when we were working out our trust, and where she was not trusting me as much, and I realized that at the time, because what happens is the Bible tells us how there's a time to sow and there's a time to reap, and I sowed a seed that, and I didn't understand this concept during that time. But with time, she was healing, I realized that I sowed a seed, a bad seed, and there's harvest time. That's gonna come, and it's not gonna be good. Until this day, I'm still harvesting from that. Unfortunately, we are in a lot better place than we used to be. But then I realized that experience, I never want to experience that again. I just don't. Mariah is someone that when she comes into something, she comes with an open heart. She's open to trusting you, to loving you all the way, 1,000%, no doubt. And I like that. I wanted to stay that way. I like that. I don't like these feelings of emotions where, you know something is going on, you know, in the house. Something just ain't right. I don't like that, because again, like I said earlier, I want to talk about it right now. I'm not gonna keep moving. I'm not gonna leave the house. We need to make it happen right now. And she gets in her thoughts about it, and now she has to sit me down for an hour because she came up, she planned out she mapped out how she's gonna have this conversation, and then she's ready. I'm not ready because I don't know what I should expect. It's like, man. So I just don't want to even get to that space. So now I understand. Okay, you have to sow some good seeds, and whatever I sow is what I'm gonna reap. So we're gonna do it together.
Amen.
Yeah, and I'm not just doing it for myself. I'm doing it for a generation, for my children. I want my child to see something different than what I saw when I was growing up. So with that being said, you know, we're working some things out, but we're in a lot better place than we used to be, and we're continuously growing and heading in the same right direction. So that Mahari, when she grows up, she's gonna see that I know marriage. I want to be married like my parents were, and I don't see it any other way. Of course, the world is gonna come at her naturally because that's what the enemy does. You know, when everything is going all amazing, the enemy's trying to come at you even harder. But you know, we believe we're gonna put her in a position where she's gonna be surrounded by the Word of God.
Yeah.
And the Word is gonna be over the world. If that makes sense.
Yes.
And we plan on keeping it that way. Yes, there are going to be some challenges going to come across. However, we know she's going to be ready. And that's what I was saying earlier. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know what I'm saying?
I know we have to get ready to wrap it up, but I want to even encourage you guys. You have to think, Mariah, when the Mitchells got married, you were how old?
We were in Stockton still.
18,
so maybe like 7.
So you're 7 years old. So about. So.
Wait, you guys? You said 2003?
Yeah.
I was in 3rd grade. I mean, I was in 3rd grade.
So you guys are getting old. So. Because you got to understand, when they got married, they were like you guys. They were like, you know, they were you laughing at us like you guys are just young, spry, what, you know.
Yeah.
But the point is that it was always important, even in church, it was always important for me to keep healthy marriages and people in front of you guys. And so, see, in your consciousness, it wasn't just your parents, but you watched them be married for 18 years. And this is a part, you're not even, it's a subconscious thing that this is possible.
Right.
And then even the spirit upon them, you know, it's yours too. And that's why we all don't understand that we are supposed to be discipling or being a blessing to someone else.
Yep.
But the enemy has us so busy fighting against each other that we're not being a blessing to one another.
Yeah.
And so this is why I believe in the seed time and harvest time. That's why you guys should spend time with them, and you should take them out and make sure they go to one of their restaurants, because of that, you guys, it's part of your consciousness.
Right.
If you saw everybody, which you've seen that too, everybody getting a divorce and everybody doing that, that becomes a part of your consciousness.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to reverse this whole thing of everybody just getting divorces and messing around in the marriages and all that. Everybody ain't doing that.
Everybody not doing that.
No, everybody's not doing that. And so, and know how to do this and be respectful and be, know how to take care of a mentoring relationship. And so they're in this season now to where you guys really have to really pay attention to, and listen. You guys need to listen. And they've been doing this. I think you guys came to the very first one. And so we've grown up in this thing together. We're just now starting to talk with you guys. And if you see what's on our life and where we've come from, especially if you got baggage, shoot, man, that's why, we know this thing works. Because if you can come from where we've come from with all of our junk and all of our baggage and experience the kind of joy, I'm like, joy is around here like this? This is for real? I could have never thought I could ever like Monique, let alone love. I've loved her. I believe this is the woman I'm supposed to be with. But I was mad at God too. I was like, man, this is too much. This is too much, man. Dang, I just want to chill, man. I just want to go have me a milkshake like anybody else and have a few laughs. This is not funny. This girl has changed my personality at times. It's like, But we'll talk about this next time. Maybe we can come back and we'll talk about how sometimes there could be a numbing effect. And you look up and you discover that I'm not the same person in a bad way. Or I'm not the same person in a good way, because I don't want to be this. I know friends now that are doing stuff like we're still back in the day. I don't want to be that. But then sometimes I check myself out. I'm like, man, I don't have that same jovial kick a can,
Take it down the road.
Yeah. I got a confession. Every now and then, I'll take an apple or an orange and just throw it over the balcony right now, just for fun.
Hit a car.
Not hit a car. But I will throw one over there just to see how far I could just throw it over there. Because I'm just that kind of dude. I just like having fun and just seeing stuff. And I love that. And because I'm trying to recapture, because I can't do that and then say, blame her. you the reason why I'm not who I should be.
Right.
And I think the Mitchells were talking about it. It's a thing to where, well, the Bible says that ultimately God says I'm supposed to love her as I love myself, or even love him as he loved the church. And the Bible says if I can't love her, I'm saying I don't love myself. And I'm like, well, man, then I got some work to do. And we've done that work. And God has been amazing in that. And so with that, we pray that you guys have gotten something from this. If you did, I guess let us know that this has been a blessing to you. If you'd like to see them come back, let us know. And we'll come back in a different way, maybe even in a deeper way. We just on the surface here, y'all. We can't tell y'all can't handle the truth. What's that? You can't handle the truth. Because to get here is no joke. It's no joke. It is like, I hate to bring it down. It's like we're about to celebrate Easter, but it is the dying of yourself, only to be raised again.
Yeah, we're gonna end with that.
Yeah, and in many of us, some of us are still trying to die to ourselves. Some of us have already completed the process, but the resurrection of it all is awesome.
Amen.
We want you to know that you are loved by God, and God wants you to be in your relationship. Especially if it's has the potential to be a healthy one. We're just trying to be examples of real people in a real relationship, and we pray that you've gotten something from this, and that you go share this with someone else.
Yes.
My name is Darren. This is Monique.
Yes.
Maturing in marriage. Hope you enjoyed today. God bless you.
Yes.
Until the next time.
Amen.